Hey, welcome to DICEteroid. My name is Carlos, and today we're going to be having a look at I'm the Boss. I'm the Boss is a negotiation game that seats 3 to 6 players and takes about an hour to play. Here are the components that are included in the game. Locate these 6 cardboard placards. Start by distributing these evenly across all players. In a 3-player game, every player gets 2. In a 4 or 5-player game, each player gets one of these placards and then 1 or 2 are set aside in the center area. In this example, let's assume there are 4 players. Player 1, Player 2, Player 3, Player 4. And there are 2 left over which will go in the center area. Next, make sure the cards are shuffled and deal each player 5 cards. Those 5 cards will serve as each player's starting hand. Next, locate the pile of round markers. They're numbered from 1 all the way through 15. Make sure they're in order so that number 1 is on the top and number 15 is on the bottom, and place them in the center of the play area. Next, choose a player at random to be the first player. In this example, let's say that the yellow player gets to go first. The player to their left, which in this case would be player C, or the red player, will place the starting token, this little dollar symbol, wherever they want on the board area. Pass the first player the die so they can roll it, and you're now ready to start playing. On your turn, the first thing that you're going to decide is whether you want to make a deal on the space that you are currently standing in, or if you would like to roll the die. In this example, let's say that the player decides to roll the die and they roll a 6. You would move the marker, the amount of spaces indicated on the die, clockwise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After their roll and movement, a player can do one of 2 things. The first thing they can do is simply draw 3 cards and that ends their turn. In this example, let's say that the yellow player decides to do just that. They add the 3 new cards to their hand and they now have 8 cards. Your hand may never exceed 12 cards. If you draw and do exceed 12 cards, you must discard back down to 12. Play proceeds clockwise, so now it would be the red player's turn. Let's say that they don't want to make this deal and instead they decide they want to roll the die and roll a 3. In this case, they would move 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. Again, they have the option of either making a deal or drawing 3 cards. Let's say that they decide they want to try to make a deal. Alright, let's have a look at deals and how to interpret the information on the board. First of all, let's have a look at this one. You'll notice on the top right that there's a certain amount of dollar symbols, in this case 4. Depending on what round you're on, these round markers indicate how much each dollar symbol is worth. So in this case, we're on round 1, so dollar symbols are $2 million each. This is an $8 million deal. This same deal, if it was done on turn 15, would be worth $20 million because each dollar symbol is worth $5 million towards the end of the game. Next, you'll notice on the top left, these symbols indicate how many different colors have to be in on this deal. In this example, C, F, and B have to agree to this deal in order for it to take place. Additionally, whoever rolled the die or whoever decided they wanted to try to make a deal, they are the boss. The boss must also agree to a deal in order for it to take place. So, in order for this particular deal to take place, the players that have the C, the F, and the B placards will need to agree, as will the boss. Let's have a look at a quick example. In this case, the deal we were just talking about requires C, B, and F to agree to the deal. Let's say that for this example, the yellow player, player A, is the boss. This is an $8 million deal, so this is how much is at stake. The boss will usually start negotiations by making an offer. For instance, he might say, okay, let's split these $8 million evenly. I'll take 2, and each of you take 2, and if everyone agrees to that, that'll be the deal. If all of the players agree to the terms of the deal, then it gets counted down from 3, 2, 1, and the deal is completed. Every player takes the money that was offered to them, and the deal was completed successfully. The objective of the game, however, is to end with as much money as possible. So unfortunately, you'll find that negotiations don't always go so smoothly. Negotiations continue until all required players are satisfied, including the boss, or until the boss decides that it is a failed deal. If the boss declares that negotiations failed, their turn ends and play continues clockwise. No one gets any money. If negotiations are successful, however, the boss is going to take the placard that indicates what turn it currently is, flip it, and place it on the deal that was successfully completed. That space will no longer be taken into consideration when rolling and moving. Now, an extremely important aspect we haven't covered yet are cards. During negotiations, any player may play cards from their hand, even if they're not actually involved in the negotiation. Travel cards are meant to negate placards. What that means is that if a character, for instance player A, is required in order to complete a deal, another player may play the travel card that matches that card, like so, and that player no longer has the A placard. It's as though they didn't have this at all. This is meant to hinder negotiations because this player can no longer fill the A role. Next are clan cards. Clan cards look like placards, but they're not two-sided, but they allow you to fill the role of a placard. For instance, if a player cancels out A, they could subsequently play the A clan card and say, I'll fill the role of A instead. Now they can fill the role that this character no longer can. I'm the boss card take over the boss role during a round. So if it's another player's turn and they are the boss, anyone else could play this card and say, I'm the boss. They are now the boss and are forcefully part of the negotiations that are currently taking place. Recruitment cards are easily the most vicious card in the game. While they do nothing by themselves, if you play 3 at once, you get to steal one player's placard. That means they permanently lose their placard, which takes away a lot of their negotiating power. You can place it next to your own placard, so if you already had one, you will now have 2. There is no limit to how many placards a player can have. Last but not least is the stop card. The stop card can stop the travel cards, the recruitment, and the I'm the boss cards. If any of these cards get played against you, simply play a stop card and you negate those attack cards' effects. It is not possible to stop a stop card with another stop card. As mentioned previously, every time a deal is closed, you will draw one of the cards from this pile and place it face down on the deal that was just completed. Gameplay continues until eventually you'll complete deal number 10 and you'll notice that its back is different from the other deals. Immediately after deal 10 is closed, you're going to roll the die and see if the die roll is higher than the number represented on the card. If so, gameplay continues. You'll notice that every card after deal number 10 has more numbers on the back. Here, if you roll a 1 or a 2 after that deal is completed, the game ends. In this case, the game continues. With every subsequent deal, the odds of the game ending increase. The game continues because 4 is not represented on this card. Eventually, you will roll a number that is on the card and the game immediately ends. Otherwise, you'll continue until you get to deal 15, which ends the game immediately. When the game ends, every player tallies their money, and whichever player has the most money wins the game. The rules indicate that it's fine to stack your money together so other players don't have a clear idea of how much money you have. Those are the basics on how to play I'm the Boss. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.